How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Grayscale just finished. They just declared it the end of Bitcoin inflows. They just had a negative day. The 2 days before this, the two trading days before this, they actually had positive inflows for the first time. So I want to go over that, show you kind of what came out of Grayscale, along with some of the other news here today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the videos so you can see future videos just like this. To be clear, just because Grayscale is having some outflows, I'm not bearish, right? I'm bullish on this asset class for the long term, but we could have some price fluctuations. We're seeing price fall down a little bit right now, down to 62.7, 62.8, about the level that we've seen a couple times, right? Right here, we found support. Hopefully, and we'll continue moving up. Now, I would be watching about the 62,000 mark, somewhere in there, to see if we hold above this trend line. And then obviously we just want to move up overall compared to where we've been. We want to get out of this range up to that $67,000 mark. And if we could break above that, that would put in a higher high, which would be very nice. But one thing that's holding us back right now, the ETFs. The last week or so, besides the last 2 days, but last week we had some pretty bad outflows from the ETFs. Now we saw 2 days of inflows. So let's see how we stack up today. So Mr. 100 back, buying 300 Bitcoin so far today. The ETFs just in general had a lighter trading day, with IBIT just at 500 million. So one of the lightest trading days that I can remember. GBTC around 300, FBTC around 200. GBTC had a $29 million outflow, which honestly isn't that bad. It's below their normal outflow amount, below their average amount. And after 2 days of inflows, I don't think anyone was sitting here thinking they were only going to have inflows, because as I've said in the last few days, there's really no reason for people to invest in GBTC. If you want exposure to the Bitcoin ETFs, you can go through IBIT or FBTC or BITO or ARKB or BITB. All of these have lower fees. So there's no real point in going through GBTC unless it's past your compliance already, or you just don't know about the other ETFs and you're just trying to get in as quickly as possible. ARKB has a $3 million inflow day. Now, the rest of the ETFs have not announced yet. We don't know what IBIT's going to do or FBTC, but so far looks like probably like it's going to be a positive day. Overall, it's going to be a positive day, but probably not a massive day. We did have lighter volume here today, but we did get some clarification on who's buying these ETFs. $429 billion asset manager Sequoia. I want to say Sequoia, but I don't think this is Sequoia. Sequoia International has reported owning $831 million worth of Bitcoin across 10 ETFs. So this is a $500 billion asset manager. This is large. Not Fidelity, not BlackRock, but this is a large asset manager. And they're buying Bitcoin in a lot of their ETFs. Almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is the largest ownership of Bitcoin ETFs reported to date. Keep in mind, BlackRock and Fidelity could be larger holders than this company. And maybe not this quarter, but they could do that in the future, right? They have 5 billion and 10 billion in AUM. Not even billion, trillion, 5 trillion and 10 trillion in AUM. And they can put their ETFs in, they can put their Bitcoin ETFs in other ETFs. So they could easily surpass us in just a few clicks. They could have well over $1 billion. Just in the 2 ETFs that BlackRock has talked about or filed with the SEC that they may be putting the Bitcoin ETF in those broader ETFs, the Strategic Income Opportunities Fund and the Global Allocation Fund. Just in those 2 ETFs, they have 50 billion in AUM. So they could just go put 2% in and they would outpace this asset manager. And this is just in 50 billion of their funds. Keep in mind, that's 2% of their total funds. So you put 2% allocation into 2% of your funds if you're BlackRock, and you already beat the largest asset manager in terms of Bitcoin ETF reporting. So yeah, this is just the beginning. Keep in mind, British Hodl says a single $438 billion fund has disclosed a 0.3% position in Bitcoin. This will scale to 3% within the next year, according to him. That's $13.4 billion from one entity. Yeah, that would be crazy, right? Bitcoin price goes up because of numbers like this, because people want Bitcoin. We also have news that Bitcoin exchange inflows have hit the lowest level since 2015 at 20K Bitcoin. So people aren't pushing their Bitcoin into the exchanges to go sell. They're just holding it, they're sitting on it, and you can also see it here. Bitcoin exchange reserve is down quite low, 1.95, 1.8, depending on where you're looking, depending on what service you're using. But CryptoQuant shows under 2 million. This is the lowest that we've seen in a number of years. Of course, there were lower numbers years and years ago because there wasn't as much Bitcoin to go around. But we've just seen the supply drain. I mean, look at this, 2.3 to 1.95. And we're talking about a 15% reduction over about a year. That's a huge difference, a 15% reduction in a year. Eventually, the price will go up exponentially. Elon Musk says, this sounds insane if accurate. Now, I'm not going to go super deep into this, but apparently Trudeau, and I'm waiting to see more news on this because I haven't seen this community noted. Elon Musk said, community, come in here and say if this is wrong. But they say the Trudeau regime has introduced an Orwellian new law called Online Harms Bill C-63, which will give police the power to retroactively search the internet for hate speech violation and arrest offenders, even if the offense occurred before the law existed. Okay, so again, I don't know if this is legitimate. I know for a fact this happens in other countries, though. And this is one more reason why some people want Bitcoin. They want some kind of asset that can't be taken away from them because of maybe some violation that they had years ago that they didn't even know about, that wasn't illegal. So yes, this kind of thing continues to show why Bitcoin's more and more important. And I've said this before, but all roads lead to Bitcoin. Every piece of news that I see brings me back to think Bitcoin could help this situation. Let me know your thoughts underneath the video, though. You can check out the link to Margex underneath the video. Again, if you want to trade, there's also a link to CoinW. As you can see, we are quite close to this trend line. I'm interested to see what happens next. And be ready, because the next leg of the market is going to be insane. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Be safe out there. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.